If you're new to our channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button.
There's 5 plants that we recommend that you never should grow in your garden, and we're going to go over why you should never grow them in your garden. And some of these are common, some of these are uncommon.
I wouldn't say never, but definitely
with
you want
restrictions.
to. Yeah, it's not like if you grow this, you're going to, I don't know, cause a nuclear war. But you want to make sure that you are being mindful of the way you grow them. So the first one is mint. And if you're familiar with Creeping Charlie, that's part of the mint family. Mint is obviously part of the mint family. So you would think to yourself, I would never plant Creeping Charlie. So it's kind of the same with mint, but you can grow it in a container for sure, definitely. You could even do like maybe a raised bed, but definitely you want to keep it in a container because it's very invasive.
It will shoot runners, and a lot of these plants will do that. A couple of these will. Runners are an underground root system that will go 3 or 4 feet and then pop up. Raspberries are known for this as well. That's how they propagate. They grow a certain distance underground, they pop up. Creeping Charlie's the same way. But mint, you want to grow it in a container, so you do not have an overtake. It will overtake your area very, very quickly, and you will not be able to get it out of your garden if you put it in the garden, physical ground. Even in a container, or even on a raised bed, I would highly restrict that with some type of weed barrier underneath the bed to prevent it from going down even 6, 8, 10 inches and going under the boards and going out in the yard, because it will take over.
Yeah, it's very aggressive. So let's go on to corn.
Which people who are listening grow corn in their backyard. And they're saying, well, what's wrong with growing corn? Well, it depends on who you talk to. Some people say backyard sweet corn is the greatest thing ever. Other people say it's a complete waste of time. Well, the reason why we put it on our list is 2 reasons. One, you have to have a block of area in which you can grow, and so it pollinates. Corn has to pollinate through the tassels that drops the pollen to the hairs on the ear of the corn. Each ear contains hundreds and thousands of hairs, and those represent each individual kernel. And if they do not pollinate from the pollen falling from the tassel, the top of the plant, then that's when you have irregular or undeveloped ears of corn. So you have to do 5 by 10, 15 by 20, something like that. You just cannot do a single row of corn and expect it to pollinate correctly. And secondly, it requires quite a bit of nutrients in the soil.
You have to have a lot of nitrogen.
Nitrogen.
Yeah.
It's a very heavy nitrogen feeder.
We grew it successfully. We conditioned our soil with a lot of nitrogen. We had success.
Compost and natural organic material.
And that was fine. But if you have a small backyard garden, maybe you're like doing a 4x8 or don't waste the space.
Right.
Basically.
You can buy it non-GMO corn at the farmer's market and probably at your local grocery store for very, very little. So that's why we put that on the list.
Okay, so
let's look at dill. Dill is
so we grew dill in containers
9 years ago.
Yeah, and it's still
it took 8 years. It took 7 years to get rid of it. Let's tell the story.
So we decided to grow. What do we grow in dresser drawers or something?
In dresser drawers and pots.
Yeah,
along the side of the fence.
Along the side of the fence in the front part of our house, and we planted dill, and
it went to seed.
It went to seed, and then it went everywhere. So then the next year we dug up the soil. We put in a more in-ground garden, and here popped up this dill. So before it seeded, we would pull out as much as we can, and we did that for...
We saved the seeds. Now, it wasn't just we threw it in the trash.
Yeah, no, we have the seeds, and we used most of the dill as much as we could.
Right. About the 3rd year in, we continued to do this, saving the seed and purging the bed, and at one point we had 1 full gallon mason jar full of clean dill seed.
Right.
It wasn't there was no chaff in it, there was no junk. It was clean because I sifted it because I wanted to see what I had. We had 1 gallon. I think we still got 3/4 of a gallon, or we got a half gallon still left.
Right.
In the last year and a half, we haven't had that problem because we've been able to purge the bed of all remaining dill that was viable seeds in the soil.
Right. So if you do grow dill, you could grow in a container, or maybe you want to. If you do grow in a container, it's still going to spread. But maybe you want to grow in a container near a more natural area, and then you can let that dill just do whatever it wants.
Be aware, based on where you're at and what state you live in, dill can be and sometimes is registered as an invasive species. So that is something
so you
you want to be aware of.
Be aware of that. Or bamboo. Now, there's two different types of bamboo. There's running bamboo and there's clumping bamboo.
Okay.
So either one at some point will spread. The running bamboo is going to spread a lot faster, and it's going to grow kind of like mint does, and Creeping Charlotte grows the roots underground.
Sends runners out and 30, 40 feet. Okay, this is not just a couple inch. They will shoot across the yard.
So that's the running bamboo.
Okay.
And your friend's dad grew, I think that's probably what he grew, was the running bamboo.
Yeah, I'm from Southern Illinois and had a friend, his dad said, I'm going to grow bamboo. This was after the fact. And he put bamboo in the yard. Now, this is Zone 6 down in the Southern Illinois area. And he couldn't get rid of it. It just kept coming up. He'd mow it down, kept coming up. Well, he called Monsanto, the developer of the weed killer Roundup, and they said, well, we don't even have anything that would kill that bamboo. So eventually, over time and years of purging, digging, finding all the roots in the rhizomes and everything, he finally got it out of the yard. But it was about a 5-year process. And the chemicals, when the biggest chemical company in the world says, we don't have anything that will kill that, you got some problems. Now, bamboo is a great product. It can do many, many different things. It's very versatile if done and grown in the right environment and conditions.
You can grow clumping bamboo, but it will eventually, it'll continue to grow. So there's not really a good way to control either of them. But the clumping bamboo takes years to grow.
Now, you can grow bamboo in containers, either in your house or in the yard. Here's the warning that I will give you. If you grow bamboo in a container and it has a hole in the bottom for drainage, you want to put that container on a concrete or pavement area, because even though it's in a container, that bamboo can find that drainage hole, root in the ground, send a runner out 20 or 30 feet and pop back up and then invade your yard. It happens, so be aware of that. Finally, on our list of things that we wouldn't recommend growing in your garden, and it depends on your garden, is perennial plants.
Now, that being said, that this is something that if you say you live in a place and you might only live there for a couple of years,
or space is very
limited, you don't want to necessarily grow perennial plants. Now, if space is limited and you love asparagus, then grow asparagus if you're going to be there for a while. But this is a time investment, so something like asparagus, something like rhubarb, something like strawberries, sunchokes, raspberry bushes, blueberry bushes, whatever. These are things that take time to develop and grow, and you have to...
And will stay for a very long time.
Stay for a long time. So
asparagus, up to 50 years. Rhubarb, up to 15 years. Jerusalem artichokes, I don't know how many years. Strawberries, up to 7 years. So there's a commitment here. And a real estate that's being used up for a plant that you don't have to do much work for to get produce off of, but keep that in mind.
Yeah, so you want to remember that and keep that in the back of your head before you go and grow it or try to grow it.
So those are just some of the different vegetables or fruits and ornamentals that we would recommend you not grow in your garden and the reasons why.
For more information, please visit thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.